some days it just feels like our emotions are running a little high, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Egos get tested, and suddenly conversations, especially with the people closest to us, they become surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
You might find yourself sort of caught between this intense desire to hold your ground, dig your heels in, and yet at the same time, really wanting some peace.
It's a timeless human dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
And often it genuinely feels like we're caught in a current we can't quite control.
Yeah.
That push-pull is, it's universal.
Absolutely. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. We're going to explore how ancient wisdom and celestial influences can converge, offering some profound insights.
Insights into navigating those emotional rapids, maybe healing conflict, and ultimately uncovering a deeper truth within ourselves.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack these fascinating perspectives on pride, on honesty, and that often uncomfortable journey towards, reconciliation.
Helping you understand not just what might be happening in these challenging moments, but why it matters, and crucially, how you can thoughtfully move through it.
So for this particular deep dive, we've gathered a truly unique blend of sources.
Yeah, we have. We'll be drawing heavily from excerpts from the Salmon's Wisdom, Navigating Currents of Pride and Truth.
Even the title hints at the profound journey ahead. And we'll specifically be looking at insights from the astrology of the day for 01 July 2025
Mm,
and the TarotScope of the day for 02 July, both sourced from Tarot by High C. They offer some incredibly timely guidance.
they really do. And to to truly bring these concepts to life, to make them tangible, we'll also be sharing a compelling narrative, the story of the river between us.
Yeah.
It illustrates these tensions and resolutions in well, a remarkably powerful way.
Our goal here is really to give you a shortcut to being well-informed about these powerful themes. You're going to get some real aha moments, hopefully.
Yeah, about finding common ground, speaking those maybe uncomfortable truths, and prioritizing compassion over conflict, all without feeling, overwhelmed by just a pile of information.
Exactly. So let's unpack this.
Okay? So a key takeaway from the astrological insights for July 1st immediately sets the stage for these emotional challenges.
How so?
Well, it tells us that emotions tend to flare when egos are tested, and our instinctive responses, they get amplified, making it much harder to be objective.
Right.
This isn't just about external events, it's about our internal wiring, really.
Okay, so it's one thing to know we should talk it out elegantly, but in the heat of the moment, when your ego is right there on the line, what's the first step we can take to actually do that?
Hmm.
Because the astrology notes it's a challenging day for relationships. There are conflicts between wanting stability and needing independence.
Yeah, that classic clash.
And you add hurt pride or inflated self-importance into that mix, and building peace just becomes incredibly complicated.
That's a crucial distinction. The astrology highlights that we should make an effort to find common ground, to talk it out, but keep it elegant.
But how? How do you keep it elegant when your ego feels like it's under attack?
Well, that's the thing. It suggests acknowledging that perfect balance is an illusion
Okay.
and encourages us to sit with the discomfort of incompleteness. It makes it clear that the answers we might be seeking won't come from trying to fix everything today.
That idea of not fixing everything today, that really goes against so much of what we're taught about conflict resolution, doesn't it?
It does.
How do we distinguish between sitting with discomfort and, well, simply avoiding the problem? It feels like a really fine line.
It is a fine line, and that's the insight, I think. It's about accepting the current tension as information, maybe,
Right.
rather than a problem to be immediately solved.
Okay.
The source advises us to avoid feeling like you need to pick a side.
Right. Don't get drawn in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And instead, make healing and compassion top priorities for reconciliation, compromise. This ties into the afternoon's astrological aspect, a Libra moon square the sun.
And a square in astrology often means,
It usually signifies a challenging friction, yeah. A point of tension between two powerful energies, forcing some kind of dynamic choice or resolution. Here, it points specifically to tension between security and fairness.
or maybe between protecting what's yours and ensuring everyone gets their due, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Which leads to that phrase you mentioned.
Yeah, that phrase, someone has to speak the uncomfortable truth when harmony and honesty stop being the same thing, that really resonates. It fundamentally challenges our usual impulse to just, keep the peace at all costs.
It really does.
What's at stake if we don't speak that truth?
Well, the risks is a superficial piece, isn't it? One that eventually crumbles because it's built on unspoken resentment or dishonesty.
Right. It's not real harmony.
Not really. Sometimes true harmony requires the courage to be honest, even if it initially disrupts a fragile calm. And this brings us perfectly to the core metaphor for today, the wisdom of the salmon,
Ah, yes. The
which
same.
is central to our sources.
Yeah, the TarotScope for July 2nd focuses heavily on the salmon imagery. It says the salmon represents return to source, perseverance through emotional rapids,
Mhm.
and trusting inner wisdom even when the world pushes against us. It's all about swimming against that current of reaction and ego.
And something worth highlighting there is the idea that the journey may not be easy, but it is necessary.
Right.
It emphasizes swimming against the current of ego clashes and reactive words.
Yeah.
And this eliminates a core truth, I think. There is a strength stronger than the need to be right.
Oh, that's powerful.
It's crucial when navigating conflict because our impulse is so often to win the argument, to be right.
That's so counterintuitive for so many of us, especially when we feel a sense of injustice. Can you maybe paint a picture of what that strength looks like in a real tense moment, even hypothetically?
Sure. Okay. Imagine a conversation where you feel unfairly accused. Your gut instinct is probably to defend yourself, right? To list all the reasons you're right and they're wrong.
Absolutely. Defense mode kicks in.
Right. Salmon's strength isn't about suppressing that feeling, but maybe acknowledging it and then choosing a different path. It might look like taking a breath,
Okay.
really trying to listen to the other person, and saying something like, okay, I understand you feel that way, and I really want to find a way through this, even if we don't agree right now.
So it's the strength to prioritize connection over justification.
Exactly.
Mm.
The source clarifies. The truth we need isn't found in perfect balance. It's in honest, compassionate perseverance through discomfort. It's about how we move through the messiness, not about avoiding it.
So it's less about reaching some elusive, perfect equilibrium and more about just enduring the process with integrity. I also noted it says some journeys must be swum alone, upstream, through challenge because something vital waits at the source.
Yes,
So that suggests a kind of internal process too, right? Like self-discovery, reclaiming our core identity amidst all the external discord.
precisely. It's often an inward journey that mirrors the outward conflict. And it gives us a practical tool. When conversations get heated, pause and check our inner current.
Check our inner current. Like, are you reacting from wounded pride or are you genuinely swimming toward truth?
Exactly that. And if you feel pulled between two sides or positions, the salmon's wisdom is basically choose neither. Choose our own clarity and compassion.
Ah, that's a powerful strategy to avoid getting tangled in others' drama and just maintain your own center.
It is. It keeps you grounded.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about returning to what truly matters. Honesty, empathy, our own inner truth. It kind of reframes conflict, doesn't it? Saying, today's discord is not an obstacle, but a necessary tension to reveal deeper truths.
There's a wisdom deeper than pride.
Yeah, and it's about honoring the cycles of life by returning to our origins, maybe. To that primal inner voice that knows where home is, even when the world around us is, in chaos.
That truly brings us right to the heart of the river between us story.
Let's get into that.
It begins with this ancient, relentless river, winding through a valley, whispering stories of pride, forgiveness, and these journeys home.
And on opposite banks stood Aaron, clutching a stone its smooth gray surface, like a symbol of past grievances, unspoken words he couldn't let go of.
Yeah. And across the water, Lyra stood, her shoulders kind of hunched, as if weighed down by old hurts. The echoes of shared laughter long faded.
You can almost feel it. The air between them didn't just carry the river's murmur, it was thick, almost visibly so, with unspoken accusations, unaddressed pain.
And right then, as they stood there, caught in this palpable tension, the moon slid into that precarious square with the sun.
Ah, the astrology callback.
Exactly. Mirroring the celestial quarrel in their own standoff. The river even seemed to ripple more sharply, reflecting the emotional turbulence.
And then the symbol appeared. A single salmon, ancient as the stars, leaped from the water, its scales catching the golden dusk light.
Beautiful image.
The splash sent ripples outward, didn't it? Touching both banks, connecting Aaron and Lyra just for a fleeting moment. The river, in that instant, spoke not in words, but in sensation, like a visceral tug towards what truly mattered.
And Aaron remembered a time before pride, before hurt kind of calcified into distance.
While Lyra felt the echo of laughter they'd once shared, a sense of belonging she no longer dared to claim.
And the salmon, old as the stars, just kept swimming against the current. Not because it was easy, but because it was its nature, right? to return to its birthplace, to complete the cycle, to remember who it truly was.
That connection to one's true nature, even when facing immense challenge, that feels key.
It is the key.
Then a wave of realization seemed to pass over Lyra, and with a sigh, she broke the silence, her voice carried by the wind across the water. "I don't want to be right," she said. "I want to be honest."
Wow. And Aaron, feeling that stone of his grievances grow heavier, then suddenly lighter, he finally let it fall into the water with just a soft plop. He simply called out, "I miss you." And the river, in its ancient wisdom, it carried those words, smoothing their edges, making them less about fault and more about just pure, honest truth.
And above them, the moon, still in its quarrel with the sun, cast this glow that softened sharp things, allowing for a moment of real, genuine connection. The story concludes with that powerful line: "Balance was a myth, but compassion was not."
Which perfectly encapsulates the entire message of this deep dive, really.
It really does.
And somewhere between them, the salmon just swam on against the tide toward the source, knowing that some journeys had to be made, not to fix what was broken, but to honor what was.
Not to fix what was broken, but to honor what was.
That's truly the moral of the story, isn't it? Some days the current pulls hard at pride and wounds alike, but like the salmon, we are meant to swim through it, not to escape discomfort, but to remember who we are beneath it all.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've explored this profound idea that perfect balance is an illusion, and that true peace often involves sitting with the discomfort of incompleteness, rather than desperately trying to fix everything right now.
We've seen the powerful symbol of the salmon, swimming against the current of reaction and ego, choosing clarity and compassion over picking sides.
Embodying a strength stronger than the need to be right.
Yeah. And we heard the compelling story of Aaron and Lyra, highlighting their journey from grievance to just honest longing.
And that profound realization that balance was a myth, but compassion was not. It powerfully reinforces that idea that the truth we need isn't found in perfect balance. It's an honest, compassionate perseverance through discomfort.
So these ancient insights, you can apply them directly to your own life, especially when you feel pulled between conflicting desires, maybe wanting stability but also needing independence.
Or when pride threatens to derail important relationships, yeah. This understanding encourages you to view today's discord not as some obstacle, but maybe as a necessary tension.
A catalyst, even.
Yeah, a catalyst to reveal deeper truth within yourself and your connections.
It invites you to consider that what feels like a problem today might actually be a powerful path towards a deeper understanding, towards a more authentic self.
So as we close out this deep dive, maybe consider this final thought to ponder. The salmon swam on against the tide toward the source, knowing that some journeys had to be made not to fix what was broken, but to honor what was.
Mm.
What does it mean for you to honor what was in your own life, even when it feels like something is broken? How might swimming against the current of reaction help you remember who you truly are beneath the pull of pride or, past wounds?